Welcome back to the SSLFamilyDad channel. Today we're out here with the wood pile. It's the never-ending process here on the homestead of trying to prepare for winters. It is June here in Michigan, and I have a ton of wood that has been sitting here for over a year that needs to be split. It will not really dry out well unless it's split. So if I want to burn it this season or next, I have to get this wood split. So I've got this huge pile behind me that just needs to be taken care of. I also have some other trees that are still down around here. I've got logs everywhere. So I just have to spend a ton of time splitting. This is a struggle I have every single year, trying to find time to get out here and prepare enough wood for the season. It seems like I'm always behind. Today we just have to get a lot done. So this is the main supply of wood. This is what has been dumped here for a year and a half. Almost 2 years actually that we've dumped wood here, and the pile has I've never been able to keep up with it. I've brought in more wood than I can ever split, it seems like. Now there's a ton of this in here that doesn't need to be split. It just needs to be cut into, appropriate lengths so I can stack it. I've got a stack going back there, and I plan on making some other stacks out here and just in some other various areas around here. Maybe down in this flat area I can put some posts in and start stacking out there, or maybe even up on the hill in the sunshine. So we also have over here, looks like poison ivy. We have these oak trees that I cut down. I just have one left that needs to be logged up. The rest of it is already logged up there. That all has to be split and stacked, and I think a lot of that will get stacked up on the deck close to the house. And then up the hill at the top, we had two other oak trees come down this year, and those have been halfway processed, but I have tons of wood up there to split. And I also have a forest filled with wood that's down. And I've got this oak tree that fell down in a storm last year. There are several other oak trees. There are some standing deads in here that can be taken out. That stuff is probably ready to burn right there. That tree's been there for quite a while. We've got some other stuff down here that just fell in the last year, and some older stuff. There's tons of trees down in here. Up on the hill, I've got 3 or 4 other oak trees that have fallen. The problem is never having enough wood. We have tons of wood here. I have enough wood for several seasons. I mean, probably 3 or 4 years worth of heating this house. But it takes a ton of time, and that's the biggest cost to heating with wood is just time. You're trading in money for time, and that's the way it always is. Propane this year is expected to be higher than it has been possibly ever, if not at least through the recession back in 2008, 9, and 10. Propane was super high then. It's time to fire up the splitter and start getting to work. Let's just start by saying I don't have a great process here. Somebody's going to make that comment. I get it. I'm trying to move the splitter close to where I have the wood ready. So I'm going to use the splitter here to get this stuff split. Then I'll actually move the splitter right up here, and I will split from the stack and toss it over into a pile on this side. The idea is always to have your wood in a place where you can split and stack it in the same location. That's the goal. But the way this house is, the house is all up on the hill up there, and there's no room around the house. There's no flat space or driveway space or area to process wood or take trailers and all that stuff. So I forced to put it all down here, process it all down here, and then haul it by trailer up to the house and stack it in the garage and on the decks and other places around there, and then some of it down here. So it's extra processing, it's extra time, and it's extra energy expended, but man, does it save a lot of money, and man, is wood heat awesome. right, this is what I have so far. Got this edge. It's about 80 degrees today, 80 something. And so got a nice cooler full of water over there running off the solar generator. Well, this one at the bottom of the pile has been kept wet enough where it actually started to grow. It's been here for over a year, laying in the bottom of the pile here. So this is, I used that Plant Identify app, and it looks like this is probably an American basswood, which is a very lightweight wood, but it'll burn just fine. Okay, might need a tractor for that one. All right, that's what we've got. Finished that stack off back there. And I'd say that's about maybe a 16-foot stack by about 5.5 feet tall. And then this one here is probably maybe 30 feet by about 5.5 feet tall as well. So it's a lot of wood. It's a couple face cords, few face cords anyway. We have a lot more to do still. There is just literally tons of wood in here, which is great. So what I have found, I think, to be the easiest is I'm going to keep the stacks right along here. I'm going to move the splitter right through and pile all my wood behind it. Once the splitter gets out to the other side, I'll come back and stack all the wood, and then I'll move the splitter over and bring it back through the pile this way and keep making stacks that way. So it takes a little bit of time to get set up and to be able to pull it through, clearing enough wood out of the way, but I think it's going to work the best. So a couple tips and tricks, I guess, things that I have found to be useful. Obviously, you see this all the time, I'm sure. These T-posts are great ends. There are other ways to stack the ends. You can do a crisscross, so stack this way and this way at the end, which will hold your stack in pretty good. But I've just found this to be quicker and easier. I don't have to mess with that because I'm usually stacking in a hurry while I'm splitting. On the ground, you don't want to put the wood right on the ground. So even though I generally, if I'm out in the woods, I generally wouldn't save this size branch. I do usually save a few of these for this purpose. So these are all along the bottom. We have lined these smaller branches, about 2 or 3 inch branches, and that just helps to keep the wood off of the ground, and it gets lots of air gaps in there, so air can can blow through this stack. So another little tip is I don't let anything go to waste. So I start picking up, especially on the top of the stack, pieces of bark, small sticks, little stuff like this. You'll see a piece of bark came off and I threw it on the top. That'll just help, water shed off the pile a little bit. All this kind of stuff I'll throw in here too. All the little splinters that came off during splitting. I'll just pick up scoops of this stuff every now and then off the ground, and I'll put it in the stack. A lot of times I'll just put it in there as I go. So you'll see little pieces in there and all that stuff. So that allows me, as I eat away this stack and take it up to the house, I will be taking all those little pieces with me, and that's my kindling that I'll use to start fires daily usually. Usually I have a good bed of coals in there, and we'll throw some of this little stuff, little handfuls of this, usually in a cardboard box, and then throw some smaller pieces of split wood on top of it, and the fire will get going just fine. The other trick, I've talked about this before, is to stack multiple varieties of wood in your stack. The front of that stack is almost all oak, and that's just because I couldn't get to much else. But the back half of this stack is a mix of oak, cottonwood, basswood, elm, black walnut, cherry. There's a bunch of different things in here. So all various hardnesses of wood. That way, again, as you eat away at the stack for the wintertime, you don't have it all oak. It's hard to start a fire with oak in the morning. It's great to have a couple pieces of cottonwood to throw in there, throw some oak on top. So it's always good to have a variety of wood, fast burning and slow burning mixed throughout your stack. Once I get into a groove out here, I usually go by tanks of fuel. So I'll run the chainsaw until I'm out of gas, put the chainsaw away, fire the splitter up, run that through until I'm out of gas or out of wood, and then keep going back and forth. One thing that I have found as far as efficiency, I don't stack my wood while I am splitting most of the time, unless the stack is right next to me, because you're wasting a lot of fuel while the splitter is running. So I like to burn through and just split as much as I can, get it all on the ground, and then shut the splitter off, and then take some time to stack all that wood. Going back and forth that way, not only does it give you a little break in your routine, break in your task, it's a little more fun that way, but it also helps you save fuel and get more wood split per tank of gas. So what is the hardest part about heating with wood? Well, I think that it is not the splitting, it's not the cutting down the trees, it's not finding wood, it's not any of those things. It's really just managing the time that it takes to do it. All of those things are actually good for you. They're physically good for you. It's good to get outside and do those things. I don't think that's not the hardest part. It's actually kind of the most fun part of heating with wood, well, other than sitting in front of a fire with a hot cup of coffee. But heating with wood takes time. You have to invest a lot of time in preparing and splitting and maintaining your equipment and all these other things. We live a very busy lifestyle. Lisa and I, we spend a lot of time at church. We serve in various capacities. We spend a lot of times with family and investing in our kids and things like that. And so there's a lot of pulls in life for your time. So somebody said to me many years ago, what do you have in common? What does everyone have in common with Bill Gates or Elon Musk? And the thing is that we all have the same amount of time in a day. It just depends on how we use it. And so there's always a give and a take. Every time I decide to come out and split wood, there's something else that I'm not doing. There's a project that's not getting done. There's time that I'm not spending with my daughters or my wife. There's time that I'm not spending serving at church or taking care of a neighbor or doing something else. So there's always a cost with everything that we do. Heating with wood takes a lot of my time. I try to get out here a couple hours a week. That doesn't always happen, and so then I end up piling it all on at the end of the year a lot of times. So this is always the hardest part about heating with wood. But is it worth it? I've done lots of videos about this. In my opinion, it is. It is worth it. It's worth the financial savings. It is worth the physical benefits that you get of just getting out and working outside. And also, the wood heat is amazing. Having a fire in the house, having that fire lit is there's nothing like it. There's nothing like sitting by a warm fire. So yes, it's worth it. It's worth every bit of it, but it is difficult. So finding efficient ways to manage wood on every homestead is extremely important. So hopefully you guys are finding ways to manage your homesteads, or if you're looking to heat with wood, hopefully this gives you some tips and tricks. But also share your tips and tricks down below. What are some things that you see here that I'm doing that I could make more efficient? What are some things that you do that helps your process be more efficient? The more time you save, the easier it is to get more wood, and the more time you can spend doing other things. So Let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to hit thumbs up on today's video, and I'd love to hear from you guys. I'd love to hear tips and tricks, so put that stuff down below. Subscribe if it's your first time here. We'd love to have you tag along. Lots of good stuff coming up. Garden behind me is growing really well. I'll give you guys an update here pretty soon. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one.